another episode of Up for Debate, ladies and gentlemen. This is the show where three generations of family go head to head to head on a series of topics. We got, what am I, Gen Zer? Gen Zer, right? Gen Zer, myself, Noe B, Millennial, and one BBB, baby boomer from Brooklyn. Yeah.
So, we are in 2022. We are, I think, the 202nd mass shooting within the year of 2022. So, the question or the debate here, because the dirtbag that shot up Top Supermarket in Buffalo was 18, and the dirtbag that shot up the school in Uvalde, Texas was 18. But then when you see situations with the dude in Buffalo, the Associated Press said that he was a teenager. But Mike Brown, who was shot and killed by police officers in Missouri, they called him a man. So the question or the debate that I propose is, should the legal adult age be raised to 21? And I ask that because you can't drink liquor until you're 21, but you can buy and purchase an assault rifle.
You can pretty much do anything at 18 except drink.
Yeah, you can drive a vehicle, you can vote.
I mean, if we're asking this within the context of changing the age, depending on how much, or changing the age in line with your access to a firearm, right? If they were looking at it in that context, I don't think it'd make a difference. Because if your intention is to do this one thing, whether or not you can legally purchase a firearm, I don't think it would make a difference. Because there's a lot of illegal firearms that are being sold.
So what you're saying is we need gun reform.
I think that's a bigger issue, honestly.
Well,
age
everyone
included,
that has had, even with the Sandy Hook guy, the guns that they used were legally purchased.
Even if you extend it to what, 3 years?
People aren't really committing mass shootings with illegal firearms. They literally go and they fill out the information. So what possible gun reform could you think of that's going to now?
I mean, regardless of the age, I don't think age has much effect on it, though, to be honest, because think about it. You can literally go out and purchase semi-automatic weapons as a civilian. Why do you need a semi-automatic weapon as a civilian for anything? Like, the worst thing that can happen to you as a civilian is probably someone mugging you, home invasion, domestic violence, anything like that, right? But a Glock is enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's more than sufficient. Why allow, you know what I'm saying, weapons that are used in the military to be put on streets for basically Joe Schmo to buy?
Hunting season.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense. Like Columbine, those dudes were in high school.
No, literally hunting season.
Yeah,
and that was in 2000 or 99 or 2000.
Like, if you think about it, the kid that drove to Kenosha, he was able to kind of wiggle his way out of that because due to hunting season, there's small parts of that law that enable you to buy guns for kids who are under 18 due to the fact that they hunt. So you have to do something about that. For me personally, just thinking about all of the mass shootings that we have here, I feel like they can do all that stuff. To me, it's about education, gun reform, and all that other stuff. But I feel like we're at a point where we have to start changing the laws. And if possible, we've got to figure out the Second Amendment thing, because I think people, I'll say this, I don't think everybody does what I do. And what I mean by that is I'm the kind of person, like, if I'm about to go play basketball, I'm going to go play in a league somewhere, I want to get some sneakers, I research everything. If I'm going to buy clippers to cut hair, I research it, I look it up. Like, and people would be like, oh, you're such a nerd. No, I just want to know what, I want to know everything about the product. So if I'm buying some sneakers, yeah, I want to know, what I'm saying, what's the rubber on the bottom? Like, is it herringbone? Is it translucent rubber? You know what I'm saying? Is it a hard rubber? Is it soft rubber? What's the heel counter feel like? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Cushline? Is it Zoom Air? How many Zoom units does it have? What's the, like, what's the court feel like? It's just knowing what you want and understanding it. So for me, I'm gonna
the price and the color.
I'm saying, so nah, I'm saying, like, regular sneakers every day, yeah, no problem. But if I'm gonna go play in it as an individual who's broken ankles and bones and stuff like that, I got to know that my feet and everything are good. So as an individual, I'm saying, who's like, you know what, I'm gonna get me a gun license and get me some heat. In the past, prior to doing my personal research, it was kind of just like, I was like everybody else. Well, they got guns. Well, it's my Second Amendment right to have guns and all that other stuff. And in reality, it's not. Because people like the GOP, whatever, the NRA have perverted the Second Amendment to essentially use it for power and control and to just get what they want. Because the Second Amendment, and if we're being totally honest, it does not say everybody should have a gun. It's not what it says.
No. So you want me to read what the Second Amendment says?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the Second Amendment, obviously, it is one of the many amendments within this Constitution. However, remember, there have been many amendments that have been amended since its inception. So it says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
All right, so we want to break this down real quick, a quick education for the people.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Have you ever in your life, when when everybody's screaming, oh, it's my Second Amendment right to bear arms and shoot guns, yay, have you ever heard anybody mention that first half about the militia? Ever?
No.
Never. This is what we do in America. You just ignore the stuff that you don't want people to hear about and you stick to the part. It's my right to bear arms. It's the civilians' right to bear arms. The first part is the most important part. Now, why I say they need to amend that is because you need to make it clear. When they talk about a militia, first of the Second Amendment was written in when? 1789, 1791, sometime around there?
You don't contextualize that.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this side by side here, and we're going to make it make sense. So we've all seen the movie The Patriot, right? Mel Gibson, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't remember it.
What?
He was throwing tomahawks at people in a button-up.
Mel Gibson.
You remember that?
What? No, I don't remember it. And it was actually on yesterday, ironically.
Hair was flying.
I didn't watch it.
Riding the horse and stuff.
All right. So watch it. Watch it again after this.
Okay.
So The Patriot takes place in 1776. The Second Amendment was written or ratified in 1791, I'm pretty sure, right? Now, as we're talking about the militia, Mel Gibson was, again, this is the Revolutionary War. So Mel Gibson is the leader of the militia, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the militia? The militia simply means it's just because women weren't dudes at the time. So it's just a group of dudes who basically protect the block, right? Mm-hmm. So we protect the block. Really, in cases of emergencies, you can also consider them like supplementary parts to the military, because it's the 1700s. So it's not like now where we have troops stationed in Iraq or Japan or in America or whatever, where we're going to war, send the Black Hawks, get on and you go. You didn't have it at that time. So the militia
people wasn't even flying.
Exactly. So Mel Gibson is like, all right, hey, we're gonna go fight. We got to get the militia together. Now, number one, the militia, they weren't given weapons. They had their own weapons. So you show up like, hey, we're going to fight, buddy. You want to come? Yeah. You got a gun? Yeah. Are you willing to fight? Yeah. All right, you're with us. That's how he's on a horse and he's recruiting. Because remember, it's a militia. It's run by civilians. It's an army or a military of civilians who protect the block. Good people who protect the block. Let's just leave it like that. So going back to the Second Amendment, when the Second Amendment says the right to bear arms, people forget the militia. They're talking about the civilians who are a part of the militia. If you're not a part of the militia, then you don't have the right to bear arms. It's specific to the militia because they had to put that in place so that the militia would have weapons if they were ever called in case of an emergency. Then it's like, hey, we need you to go off to war. You got to have your gun. And now it's also 1790, or sticking with the movie, it's 1776. What kind of guns are we talking about? We're talking about dudes who literally put nails in spoons, melted over hot fires, wrap it with like a metal, like cylindrical type figure, pretty much chip it, and he creates a nice metal ball, dip it in some water, it becomes hard. You drop it in the barrel of the gun, take the little like pin thing, push it down, pull it out, flip it closed, pull the hammer down, then shoot. If you think about the way they did war, you usually had 3 lines in the front, right? The first one shoots, drops down, starts reloading. Them niggas ain't taking cover. It just takes so damn long to reload them guns.
Wait, hold on. It wasn't even revolvers. Matter of fact, it wasn't even revolvers because I'm like,
it
you
was a
doing like
5-minute reload.
Exactly. So now
they had to tear the thing off.
Imagine missing.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, think about that. You got to pull the ball or the bullet that you made out your little man, out your satchel, drop it in the hole. You know what I'm saying? Then you put and stick the thing in, pull it out, flip it closed, pull the hammer down, then fire. Like, it takes a lot. It's a totally different time. They're not using a Glock or an AR-15. You know what I'm saying? They're not sitting here clicking a joint, the clip falls out. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's a regular striker fire gun, hey, slide the new clip in. Pretty much the slide closes. Now you're firing, and you don't even have to pull the hammer down. So it's a totally different time, and they've literally manipulated and perverted the amendment so that they can do whatever they want, and they've confused people. And I feel like they have to change that, because if they don't change that, people are going to run around thinking they have the right to bear arms and to do whatever because of the way they've manipulated the amendment.
Well, the NRA is an engine within itself, and they have literally taken that Second Amendment and they have capitalized and monetized on the 39th billionth level when it comes to being a super PAC. They literally line and run the government. They have lined the pockets of so many politicians, and their lobbyists are so powerful that is why these politicians are so stark raving mad and scared to stand up against them, because they know that they will now lose that seat if they go against the NRA. So the NRA has literally said, after Sandy Hook Columbine should have never happened, but Sandy Hook should have never happened. And this government said, oh, well, you literally are okay with babies? Like, when I went to pick up my son today, there was such a level of emotion, because I'm just like, I'm literally here picking up my son who's the same age as the kids in Uvalde that got killed yesterday for no reason. 19 families don't have the same privilege that I had today. And the government is saying it's okay.
Well, because they put money ahead of anything. They put money ahead of you, your kids, and whatever, and they don't care about it because, one, their kids ain't in those schools.
However, these same people are the pro-lifers. Mims, make it make sense.
It's actually interesting that all these actually finish. Yeah.
You're pro-life, and yet you voted against Biden and his team sending formula for babies that could not eat. But you better dare not abort a baby that's in the womb. But once that baby is living and breathing, ain't got nothing to do with me.
I think it's a lot of things. One, it's about control and keeping control. Two, it's selective Christianity because they always claim Jesus and God when they feel like it's important. So when LGBT stuff comes up, oh, Jesus, Jesus, God, God, God. When abortion comes up, Jesus, Jesus, God, God, God. Oh, and look, they'll do whatever they have to do to keep control and to make people feel a certain way. And to me, the one thing I have noticed, all of those people who's out there running around, I'm sure there's still some, all the Trump supporters and the GOP supporters and everybody who was talking all that big talk, a lot of them people have been silent for the past couple of days. They had nothing to say. And to me, I simply look at it and I'm just like, yo, all you have to do, like, I don't know, like, I'll give you an example. You talking about you picking up your son from school. I was walking home from the gym. Well, I was walking in my car from the gym, and school had just got out. And as I was walking down the street, I'm looking around and I'm just like, what would possess somebody to just come out here and just start shooting? I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to me. And if that happened, why wouldn't anybody do anything about it? And as I'm walking, I'm just like, yo, I literally can't understand it. How everybody like how Ted Cruz, again, the perversion of the amendment. Even when I think he either made a comment or tweeted and he was just like, you know, what happened was so bad, but we can't, you know, let this affect, you know, the guns and law abiding citizens and all this other stuff. It's like law abiding citizens, technically, when he bought the gun, he was a law abiding citizen until he shot up the school. So I don't understand why you keep saying that it's our right. It's not. And to me personally, I feel like you have to change the wording and the verbiage in that amendment because that's all you hear everybody scream. It's my Second Amendment right. Or the same way people will be screaming free speech. I can say whatever I want. They're going to live off of that until the end of time, until something's done. I don't have the answers for everything. And I'm not even going to pretend like I do. But like I said, I don't know who's in every primary. I don't know every senator. I don't know, you know, when every election is. I don't know any of those things. But what I personally do when I see people are running, I just join the mailing list. This way I get a whole bunch of emails on different people. And it's just like, okay, I see this one. I don't like this one. I don't like this one. I kind of just filter it out that way. Or I ask people, like my brother, he called me one day, was just like, yo, this dude's running. Our word? Yeah, yo. You know, support the campaign. Sure. Let me do some research on him first. And then, you know, if he's cool, I'll support it. Yo, you know what I'm saying? We try and do some work with him. We gonna do whatever. We try and make this happen. All these different things. All right, cool. I do my own research. I like it. So I support the campaign. I also vote for him. Next thing I know, yo, man, that dude we got in office, yo, he's making changes here. Now we can do this. You know, we can do that. I just met with, and it's just like, all right, bet. Like just trying to do whatever you can, where you can, because like I'm not no public servant, and I'm not even gonna pretend to be. I'm not some scholar. I don't know everything, and I literally don't know what to do. And to me, listening to everybody and looking at all these tweets and listening to the GOP and all they kept saying in a different way was, it's our right to have guns. It's our law. Even who's this dude? Abbott. This dude said Texas is second in gun sales to California. Come on, Texans, we got to do better. What are we doing? I mean, like, come on, bro. Really? That's where we're at with this? Like, you're upset that you're second in gun sales? You want to be number one in gun sales? I just don't see and this is a historical thing to me. And this goes into critical race theory, goes into this idea and notion of like, well, you know, it's the American way. It's just the American way is pretty much rape, guns, violence, murder, and politicians politicking and lying to you, using you, abusing you, and doing whatever it is that they want. Me personally, when I saw this shooting, and this kind of tells you the way that I feel about Joe Biden right now, knowing that him and what's the dude, the ATF director, Stephen Dettelbach or something like that, the dude who he has his nominee or choice for ATF.
I don't even know.
So the shooting was yesterday, so that means today they were having a hearing on guns and policy and all this other stuff. And I was just like, yo, it just seems too coincidental that this dude has this gun law on the table for them to discuss today, and all of a sudden this school gets shot up. And I don't want to say that it's a conspiracy theory or whatever the case may be, but I just don't trust these niggas anymore. And that's just where I'm at with it, because I feel like these dudes get more bold, the same way that these criminals and people who do this stuff are getting more bold. Politicians, in my view, are getting more bold with one, just lying directly to your face, I'm gonna do this and not doing it, and whatever the case may be. And I don't know, I just felt it just didn't sit right with me. You know what I'm saying? But again, for me, this is about gun reform. This is about, changes to the amendment. This is about, you just got to stop lying to these people, and people need to understand. Granted, what I'm saying may not make a difference, you know what I'm saying, but it's just getting people to understand, myself included, as an individual, gun license. Yeah, in all reality, like I don't have the right to bear arms, because when they wrote that, they wasn't talking about me. It wasn't talking about any of us. Folks need to stop lying to themselves, and people need to stop lying to us. And until that happens, this is going to keep happening. It's sad to say that, but ain't nothing about to change. And that's the unfortunate part.
Last year, I was not for regular civilians owning guns. I just wasn't. And then I went and got my permit and got my license, and I was just like, well, you know what? I'm gonna get what I need to get. But Australia and Scotland both had mass shootings. Immediately following those mass shootings, they changed the laws within the country and have not had one mass shooting since. So you can't say that it just won't work, because we have other countries that have made it work. And with the statistic of the amount of people that the United States have within the globe, we're like, I think, less than 10-15% of the population in the globe, but we own 47% of the guns on the globe.
It's the American way. There's a problem and an addiction to it, because it's power and control, which probably stems from slavery and the Columbus days and all that other stuff, and holding a gun to people's head and doing whatever you want to people, and you don't want to give that up.
And capitalism too, that plays a big part.
And that part too.
That plays a huge part. When you get the chance, watch this movie called War Dogs, where these two teenagers, Caucasian, they basically sell arms to the military, it's basically like any business where you can get in on contracts if you have
a government contract
for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they take off government contracts and sell weapons to the government. But they started, taking off these small contracts, and then ended up turning into this large company that was like multi-billion-dollar deal or whatever. But essentially, me saying that is in lieu of the fact that capitalism allows you to basically do anything if you have the capital for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what keeps this stuff going, is the dollar. NRA is the three-headed monster.
As long as you get money from it, it's a good thing. And it's like, it's not all money ain't good money, man. I mean, it is to Americans and politics and politicians and whoever in the government, but I don't know. There's the one thing I know: I can never be in public office, because maybe this is too crooked for me.
It's just like I feel like people, because I follow a few politicians, especially the ones in New Jersey, and when I see them come across my screen now on Instagram, I just because I'm just like, yo, y'all are just the like I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, y'all are weak, and you're proving yourself over and over again to be weak when it comes to standing up for what is right and what is just. And if this political climate or political scene is all a facade, and you have puppeteers really up there pulling strings, then just say that for what it is and stop feeding pissing on us and telling us it's rain. Because after a while, you can't keep doing this to somebody but for so long before that weenus rises up and just, you know what I'm saying? The weenus will rise. You know what I'm saying?
The weenus rising is crazy.
But you understand where you picking up what I'm putting down. You can't keep, like, these are children. Freaking Dumbo in Buffalo, you killing people's nanas? You're killing nanas?
Yo, that dude had nigger written on the barrel of on the sight of his gun.
Saying, here's your reparations. Had it on the gun. Here's your reparations.
Stay wary, y'all.
But you have Governor Abbott. You have Ron DeSantis. You have the I forgot who the dude is in Louisiana, the governor of Louisiana, but all of these, Tennessee, these red state governors are making it illegal for you to teach the truth. And then you got B. Simone saying she's triggered.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But you understand what I'm saying? They don't even want you to learn the truth about what they've actually done on this soil.
Of course not. Why would they want that?
But that's why you have dumbos like Brandon putting nigger on the barrel of his gun saying, here's your reparations. Negro, if only you knew that this country was built off of the blood of people that look like us, and you got the truth sets you free. The truth liberates your mind. The truth gives you a level of confidence.
You think him knowing that is going to change anything?
No, but they see, and nothing's gonna change. Think about it like this. Number one, why would any of these dudes who plan on shooting up schools or whatever have any fear of it? I'm surprised they killed this nigga yesterday.
Well, he was Hispanic. He was Latino.
And that's probably why they shot him. But why would any of these other white dudes who are shooting up schools or doing anything like crazy like that? What's there to fear? They ain't gonna kill you. They're gonna put you in jail. They're gonna put you away from everybody so nobody bothers you, and they're gonna treat you like you a platinum member at a country club.
Listen, Hojo and them is gonna wait until the CEOs go on break or till the shift changes, and they gonna be out there cleaning the same part of the wall like this, just waiting, just waiting.
What's his name?
Brandon.
No,
Brandon.
you said Pojo.
Pojo, and them. They gonna be just cleaning the wall, just waiting, and doing like they Ghost made the make it look like the Jimenez got Lobos in prison. He gonna come to the door. He gonna come to the thing, and then he's just gonna listen. You killing nanas. There's
This stuff will never make it into textbooks like in years down the line. I wonder if like any of this will ever be in a textbook down the line. in
But see,
schools.
they're talking about, well, you know, and see, this is a problem with the B Simones of the world because the kids, they're making the kids feel bad about themselves.
That's that soft Gen Z stuff.
I grew up. I grew up being fed the white man's version of history. And it wasn't until it was only because I had a militant mother that had me reading who you know had black history comic books. I did.
I didn't even have comic books.
I had black history comic books. I was learning about Matthew Henson at 5 years old. I was just like, well, where's the sparkles? Where's the sparkles? Where's the sparkles and the glitter? You know, I was reading Black history when I was a wee lad. Okay? But because of the fact that thank God I went to a black elementary school that taught us rites of passage and black history, and we did Black Solidarity Day, and we were blackity black. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I got into high school and I went to a high school in a white neighborhood that I was just like, what is this? I don't like it. But I was blackity black from kindergarten up until 8th grade.
Yeah, it's actually funny what you learned in school. It's like, all right, so Black history, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. That's it. You didn't learn nothing else. It's literally Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and then they might sprinkle in some slavery, but for the most part, in your history or your social studies class or whatever the case may be, all you learn about is Columbus and the niggas who was and Thanksgiving and whatever the case may be. That's all you learning. They ain't teaching you nothing. They ain't telling you, and even that is all revisionist history because they ain't even telling you what really happened. Oh, we all came together. He got off the boat. They welcomed him, and they ate dinner. That's why we have Thanksgiving. Nigga, please. And then they want to sit around
That wasn't my life.
Want to sit around there talking about, oh well, we don't want to make kids we don't want to make white kids feel bad. You know, hey, what you mean you don't want to make white kids feel bad? Hey, it's your history. Fix it.
Like, you did it.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what I'm saying?
What you telling me that for? Like, so you don't want to teach my history because your history
because that make you look bad?
Like, what are you talking about? Yet when it comes to
we just gonna hide this.
Yeah, like when it comes to everything, like if you just look at it, like it's super simple. LGBTQ, they had a problem, they got legislation. Asians, they had a problem, they got legislation. You know what I'm saying? Like even the aliens and the immigrants at the border, they had a problem. They even got some legislation to make things a little bit easier for them. Black folks, what we get? Yo, as a matter of fact, think about it this way. The Holocaust survivors. America was out there on the front lines like, yo, make sure they get restitution and reparations. America was out here leading the charge.
And freaking Hitler got his ideas from America.
If the Japanese and the internment camps, they got over what, $2 billion in reparations?
We still paying reparation to the Holocaust survivors. And it didn't even happen on U.S. soil. What happened to Africans?
But that's also what I'm talking
US
about
soil.
With history. It's, you will learn about World War I, you learn about Russia and Joseph Stalin and Austria-Hungary and Poland and all this and Hitler and all this other stuff, and how America swooped in to save the day in Pearl Harbor and all this other stuff. And America was out there, we was out there fighting and we won and we defeated the Nazis and all this other stuff, right? They'll run that to the cows come home every year. Niggas won't tell you nothing about slavery, won't tell you what really happened with Christopher Columbus, won't tell you the realities of anything, but you'll be out here, well, we helped the Holocaust survivors and we did this and we did that. So as long as it's history that makes you look good, you're cool with it. But then they'll look at you.
Betsy Ross sold the flag. Betsy Ross, You talk about we have the flag and the flag. I pledge allegiance and you put a hand on, I pledge allegiance. Do you know how much blood y'all got on that flag? Don't get me started about the stuff that they still doing to other countries. And you see, George Bush over here, Freudian slipping that he invaded Iraq.
Iraq, trying to get that all.
Oh.
He over here Freudian slipping. But there's so much sanitized violence, sanitized evil, sanitized wickedness that is this country. And if you do not address it and acknowledge the sins, you are destined to repeat it. And it seems as if nobody wants to take accountability for the sins that this country has done.
Let's name a few.
Tulsa just had the 100th anniversary, and they have yet to give the survivors, and I think there's probably less than 10 left, because that was 1921. And the fact that they are still living survivors today is nothing but the grace of God.
Tell them, let's share with the people with it, kind of like what we're talking about here, because I want people to know, like, I'm done with like the being kind and being nice. Like, I'm telling you what it is straight up. So for those like, nigga, just to make it real quick, I'm trying to get through super fast. All right, Tulsa, basically they were just like, yo, y'all niggas need to go figure out the situation. You know what I'm saying? So black people said, nah, we got you. Went out there, got our own stuff, our own Wall Street, our own money, our own, started doing whatever. Niggas came to the neighborhood, burnt that joint down to the ground. That's pretty much what happened. Once we went out and did it, they wasn't with it, burnt it down to the ground. So now, as I said before, all those people who got all this legislation from then till now, black folks ain't get not a damn thing. So what did we get? Let's be real. What did we get? What did we get? What did we get? You know what we got? We got free. And after we got free, here's what we got. We got sharecropping. Sharecropping. That's what we got. But what is sharecropping?
We got free, but didn't give us, we didn't know how to read or write.
Exactly. And then they said,
go be free, niggas.
Go be free.
Go be free, darkies.
These slave owners, you know, they're not your slave owners anymore. We're gonna tie slavery we're gonna make it this illusion of business and tie it into some type of contractual agreement between you and your slave owner. So here, we'll call it sharecropping. All right, go ahead. He'll let you use his land and grow crops, and all you gotta do is split it with him. He's gonna take 70%, you keep 30. However, just in case you don't grow anything, that nigga's not gonna owe anything, but you're gonna owe him. So you'll be in debt, that nigga will be in the clear, and pretty much you're a slave all over again. Because let's just say there ain't no rain. It's the dry season. You ain't gonna be growing that much stuff. And then what happens? It's no different than being on the block. You go out on the block, you got all this weight on you, whatever the case may be, you get jumped and you get robbed, right? Now you gotta go back to Big Bob and them. It's like, yo, niggas jumped me on the block. All right, cool. Well, nigga, go work it off. Well, nigga, that means it ain't profit season, which means every dollar you get is going back to him and you just out there on the streets doing nothing. It's the same concept. Nigga, all they trying to do is get you indebted to them to pretty much own you all over again. And after sharecropping, you know what else we got? A prison system. You know what else we got after? Well, right before the prison system, we got vagrancy laws, which basically made it illegal for you to not have a job or appear to be homeless, or, you know, to just seemingly just not have everything all put together, but you were a slave with nothing. And now they're putting you in prison. Well, now they're creating a prison system, which they didn't have. And now they're putting you in jail for pretty much existing. So what do we get after that? Jim Crow. And then we got all this redlining crap. Did we get reparations, restitution? No, nothing. Nothing. We get anything.
Like Martin Luther King said, we told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. But it's disingenuous to say that because a lot of us didn't even have boots.
Exactly. So now when they sit here and they're like, well, we don't want you teaching critical race theory, Negro, so you don't want me. Like, the idea of redlining is literally the definition of critical race theory. It is just, outside of being like individual racism or just, racial bias amongst people, it's social and also systemic. So if we have a government that says, let's circle this over here in red, we ain't giving these niggas no money because that's where the black folks is at, and we're gonna go over here with everybody else. Well, that's probably part of the reason why 70+% of white people are homeowners and less than like 40% of black people are homeowners. That's why the wealth gap is like 750,000 to like 100,000. So people don't understand. It's like, yo, these niggas is out here playing, y'all, and you need to understand, like, yo, do not let these people come around here and start lying to y'all and making up some fabricated story of what reality is. Like, because all you basically, if you agree with that, all you telling me is my life to you, my life didn't matter to you. And the people who look like me that came before me didn't matter, and it wasn't real, and it never happened. So I must be crazy. So nah.
That's exactly what it is. But let's just be clear, critical race theory is not taught in any schools. That's number one. Critical race theory was only taught in law school, in a specific law school. And the fact that critical race theory is even a thing is because right-wing pundits and politicians are using that to push a narrative. And there are some schools that are adapting certain aspects of history in their curriculum, but it's not critical race theory. It's just basically teaching history of America.
Exactly. And they don't want you to know. Because
So
if you don't tell anybody, it never happens.
Since you want to bring stuff up, I'm just going to start from the 1900s because I don't think it's fair for me to go back to before the 1900s. Let's go from 1900 to 1960. All right, you had the Robert Charles riot in New Orleans. You had the New York City race riot. You had the Atlanta race riot. You had the Springfield, Illinois race riot. You had the Slocum massacre. You had the East St. Louis race riot. You had the Chester, Pennsylvania race riot. You had the Houston mutiny and race riot. You had the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania race riot. You had the Charleston, South Carolina riot. You had the Longview race riot. You had the Washington, D.C. riot. You had the Chicago race riot. You had the Knoxville race riot. You had the Elaine, Arkansas riot. You had the Tulsa race massacre. You had the Rosewood massacre. You had the Harlem race riot. You had the Beaumont race riot. You had the Detroit race riot. The Columbia race riot. The Peekskill race riot. And the Cicero race riot. And that's only from 1900 to 1951.
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Y'all niggas had the KKK. And then these people want to talk to about the Panthers. Like, nigga, wasn't nobody coming to your crib burning crosses and bothering you for no reason? Right, come on, man. What are we talking about here?
Let's just call a spade a spade. Your ancestors sold postcards and divvied up digits and body parts of Black men and women that they burnt as they hung them. Hanging and lynching, that whole picnic statement, that's why I don't go to picnics. It actually comes from them saying pick a nigger. And they would lynch and or burn them. And they would literally sell postcards. And they would, the people would be having postcards and they would actually have like the nigga's thumb in a jar on display at their. This is your ancestry that you don't want taught. And you don't want to learn. You would rather stay in the dark.
Or just act like it didn't exist. Which is the craziest part to me. Because all you have to do is simply do better. But I can't look at you any different from them if you're gonna sit here and tell me, nah, we just not gonna talk about that. Nah, that didn't happen. Nah, let's just tell this side of the story because they're gonna feel bad. Negro, I don't care how these niggas feel. I don't care how old they are.
God bless America. If you don't sit your simple ass down, and
sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
But we ain't patriotic because we want you to do better. Talk about if you don't like it, if you don't like it, go back to Africa. I ain't never been to Africa.
Negro, you the reason we here.
Taking it all in, just
Wasn't bothering nobody.
a lot of information.
Nigga, you invited me to the cookout. Gave me a ride and everything. Nigga, I didn't ask you to come.
I ain't asked you for a lift. I didn't ask you for the Uber.
I didn't say, yo, what they doing over there? I didn't ask you none of that.
Who all over there? Who all over there?
I'm saying, ain't nobody asking none of that. Come on, man. Nah, yo, we ain't doing that. I'm just over the nonsense and people just saying stuff that doesn't make sense. Like if you're telling me about my history, and on top of you trying to tell me about my history, you're making comments about things. And I'm not putting anybody out there saying, specific things, because if I say specific things, that's pretty much the same thing as putting people out there. But it's just like, nah, you got to stay where you at. You got to stay where you at. And I don't want to be divisive.
There are some white people that are so bomb that
Facts.
get it, that got it, and they trying to do whatever is necessary to make things better. But then there are some that just don't give up.
I don't know if they can't see it or don't want to. Probably a mix of both. But it's just like, yo, I can't run around here with you tiptoeing around you or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm at a point where it's like, yo, if that's how you are, then I just gotta be honest with you. Like, I can't.
Son, we was talking last night or the night before last, the sisters. Insurance companies insured the boats and the cargo on the boats that brought us over here within the slave trade. And they became mega insurance companies that are still in business today became the mega companies that they are right now because of off of the backs of us. And yet, and I'm gonna say this, I don't agree with what's going on, but Zelensky is just like, we need help, and y'all can gather up $50 billion, $54 billion, just like that, to send over to the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
But meanwhile,
what black people get?
Back on a ranch.
Where we at? We got a bill sitting on a table that they won't pass.
And all that is a justice and policing act.
We got civil rights. We got the opportunity to be equal, sort of.
Do better. Rise up.